just to cut through the quick formalities, for those who are joining us for the first time, it's good to know that this is a program that is coming from the stable of DLI, Development, Empowerment, and Leadership Initiative. And this product is called HeyCoach. It is not just a training. It's actually a program that is designed more around experience sharing, more around getting to the point where we can crowdsource ideas, crowdsource experience, so that on the go, members of this community can find knowledge, wisdom, information that will help them to take better decisions. Like we've done since we started over a year now, we will always start on time. The session starts not less than 15 minutes, usually 30 minutes we are live. And then all the formalities are done. As we are getting more members participating, we like to just request that everybody try to keep their contribution brief and to the point so that we can take as many people as we can. And we are looking forward to getting to the point where you can have more people joining who want to volunteer to do a thing or two. Like I said, last week we started this series, which is going to run for 3 episodes, meaning God sparing our lives and Jesus starring next month, end of the month, we will be having the last for this series and the last for the year. And if you were here last month, you know that what we focused on was looking backward to look forward. And from the general gist of that title, the whole essence is to point out that you don't succeed by accident. You don't just drift into your destination. If you want to get to a particular destination, the way the world is designed, you have to exert the necessary effort, invest the necessary energy to get you there. That's what this is all about. And a quick recap from last episode, we shared a few statistics about a few successful people, and the common denominator to all of them was that nobody here or nobody anywhere that you can point to, that you can say has achieved anything, that you can say it was done accidentally. It doesn't happen that way. There is always an effort, there's always a plan, there's always an intentionality to it. And many people, like I said last episode for those who are here, I said it used to frustrate me that every effort you make in getting people to rise up to this does not usually generate the kind of response you are looking for. But I no longer get frustrated because I have realized that statistically speaking, not more than 1% of the population that gets exposed to things like this usually rise up to it. For simple reasons like you can see on the screen. Some are more comfortable with the status quo, some are afraid of failure, some have the sense that the forces that control their life is outside of their control, so they rather just go with the qui sera style and allow it to flow. But what you find is that 1% that rises up and do something about it, they end up transforming their lives and they end up turning it around. And it will interest you that for the attendance that we had last week, and for the many other people who have gone to watch it on YouTube, you'll be shocked that only one person sent in anything. And I'm not surprised. But it still doesn't change anything. We keep pushing, hoping that somebody today will again rise up to the occasion and make the best use of this opportunity, because life is just all about choosing your hard. You have to choose your hard. Doing these assignments are hard. Doing making effort and getting to run with your life is hard. But I trust you, I can bet with you as well. Doing nothing is also hard. You have the choice of which hard you are going to pick. And even the one we are going to talk about today is also hard. On the other hand, you can choose to go into 2024 and be playing the victim or be playing the balloon and just hope and wish and do nothing. It's also hard. It's your choice. My encouragement or my request to you is that you choose the better hard, the hard that puts you in control, the hard that gives you the opportunity to make something out of your life, like what we found in the story that we shared last week about Pelumi and Tade. And the summary of that story is Pelumi, even though she will say she's had a good life, she still wanted more, and it was more around, am I supposed to just continue to drift, or is there a way I can take control of my life? By the way, if you missed last episode, John, please drop the link again. We have a YouTube channel, Development, Empowerment, and Leadership Initiative. Development, Empowerment, and Leadership Initiative, so that I can then get to the content for this week. It will be useful for you to please go back and check out that recording, because unfortunately we can't go through last week's episode in detail again. But the whole essence that Pelumi was worried about is, how do I get control of my life? And when you talk about control, we are saying, how do I become the person who is able to direct and influence my own life? Who is able to choose the path that I travel on? Who is able to determine how things go as long as it lies within my control as a human being? Somebody who is given the power to choose the order, the sequence in which things run. And I need you to pause and think about that. Is that the kind of life you have been living? Is that the kind of life you would like to live? Because if you don't live your life based on your own terms, if you don't take the steps to control your life, what you have indirectly done is to surrender that control to forces and factors that are outside of your control. Why? Nature abhors vacuum. So there is no neutral ground. You are either working every day to be in control of your life, again within human limitations, or you become the balloon. The air will blow it here, bounce it there, knock on this wall, knock on that chair, knock everywhere, fall to the ground, go up. That's what happens. So, the question that I asked last month, which I'm asking again, is if you are not willing and ready, those two terms are very important. Many people are willing, they are not ready. If you are not willing and ready to take ownership of your life, maybe you really need to find something else to do with your time, because I'm not sure that this is going to really be worth your while. But if you are willing and ready, then I think you're in the right place. So it's time to go. And at the center of this is the concept of purpose. They say the person does not know where he or she is going. Any road will lead you there. Unfortunately, you will not even know when you get there. So, purpose, purpose, purpose. If you go to that DDI channel, you will see a lot of videos on purpose, discovering it, actualizing it, and all of that. I encourage you to go there. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. And they are short videos. I think the longest there probably will be 15 or 18 minutes. No, I don't think there's any video that is up to 20 minutes. Average about 7-10 minutes. So, it's about purpose. Even though what you see on the screen are all call facts, question is, are they all for the same purpose? No. And that is why you have a duty to establish purpose, because when the use of something is not known, misuse, abuse is inevitable. All this we covered last week. And in discovering purpose, the whole essence is, what is your why? We identified 4 ways by which you can discover purpose. Number 1 is intuition. Some people just know, deep feeling from birth, from circumstances around them. There's just this clarity of mind that they get. There are those who have to examine their tags. Tags there stand for talent and gifts. What have you been packaged with? What are you blessed with? What's that thing that comes natural to you? Some is based on interest. What's that thing that's always calling you? What do you always notice? What's that thing that can't pass you, that even if you are dying and you are ill and you hear let's do it, you find new zest, you find new life, you find new energy? And if none of these 3 works, what are the opportunities around you? Get going with them. In the course of your journey, purpose will be clearer. You will know what is not, and you begin to gravitate towards what is. But whatever you do, if you don't establish purpose, it does not give you a sense of your destination. And once the destination is not clear, it becomes a problem, because you can't just drift towards where you don't know. So if you really want to make 2023 count for whatever is left, and you want to give yourself a fighting chance to make 2024 work, then this is the opportunity that you have to work at it. Now, and this is where, let's see, if you were here last month, please, can you just get into the chat box and just say yes, yes, let's see. Because this was the take home that we had last time out. If you were here, yes, John was here, I know that. Who else was here last month? If you were here last month, get to the chat box and just hit me a yes. Okay, I'm hoping some others who were here last month will still be able to make it today. So John, since you are the only one who has said yes, did you do this exercise? A trophy for you. This was where we said you need to look at what you want to try and run after between and end of the year, and then pick one thing or more if you think you have the capacity, break it down to milestones, create a vision board, and then, if need be, find an accountability partner, and then get started. What happened? 60% done. Okay, that's good. Anybody else that was here last month? Anybody else that was here last month? All right, there was I don't know if it's a guy or a girl or a man or a woman, but there was one person that was here last month. I do not know specifically who that person is, but this person took the time to participate in this exercise, and I just want to share. I got his or her permission on Telegram to share what that person did. And I was hoping that that person will be here. And if you happen to be here, I don't know. I can see a name here that I'm not sure who that is. But if you are here, it would be nice if you can please just acknowledge or identify yourself. But this was somebody sent in, and I engaged with that person over Telegram. And it was exciting. At least somebody is making effort. This person said, a trophy for me for Christmas. A paper written and submitted to a reputable journal. So, like we said in that exercise, that you should identify one thing or more that you want to run after, establish your why, break it down into steps, and then establish the why for each step so that you know the reason why certain things has to be. Because one of the medicines for procrastination is a clear why. Once why is clear, either because it is moving you towards pleasure or moving you away from pain, you have more motivation to get it going. So, this is what the person submitted: steps, requirements, due date. Finalize the topic, and these are the requirements. Finalize on whether to have a co-author. These were the requirements. Do literature, if to be co-author, divide the write-up. Then do literature review, brainstorm, proofread, effect corrections, submit journal, effect journal corrections, and his or her due date is 16th of December. I was super excited to see this. At least somebody is moving. I tried to check with him or her as to how far this has gone. I've not gotten any response. I'm going to keep driving, but this was very exciting. Something was missing here. I would have wanted him or her to have established a why for each activity. So finalize by this, because why has to be that it takes this number of days to get this kind of thing done, and if you don't start now, that means this will not be done and you will not be able to check this box at the end of the year. Why? If you find yourself struggling with anything, just focus on the why. Try to establish your why, and it just becomes a lot clearer. So this was the only that I got. And like I said last month, I was not surprised. Even if I had not received anything, I would still not have been surprised, because for some reasons, less than 1% of people respond to things that gives them control of their life. And that is why when you look at the pyramid, it's very narrow at the top. The base is very wide. Everybody just wants to float. Like I keep saying, you don't need to do anything for the sun to rise. You don't need to do anything for the sun to set. So people just stay in that floating zone and they are happy to keep floating. But if you want to be part of those very tiny crew at the top of the pyramid, yes, it's hard to get there. It's also hard to be in the base of the pyramid. So this is the only one that I got, and I was very glad. At least somebody was listening and my sermon converted somebody. So I therefore then want to pause for a few minutes. Is there anybody here who has anything to say about this exercise that we did last month? A trophy for me based on what I've shown. Anybody? Anybody want to say anything about it? Anybody wants to say anything about it? Are you just hearing about this? Have you done anything like this before? Do you appreciate what we're talking about? Do you need any clarification on this? Because this month's episode is pretty straightforward and simple. We will just be building on this. So did anybody, the question again, it looks like a few more people have joined. I asked that question again. If you were here last month, apart from B, please can you just say yes on the chat box or unmute your mic and say yes if you were here. Anybody? Okay, so this was our assignment from last month. It doesn't have to be too long. Now, what are we then focusing on this month? We are about to get into another conversation, and I'm interested in seeing like how many people again will rise up for this. This has been strong for me of recent. You have to choose your hard. All right? The conversations we're about to get into is hard, but not doing anything about it is also hard. So it's up to you to choose which hard you want to give your time to. So the topic is looking back to look forward. So we have looked at 2023, January to September. We have reviewed what had happened during the year. We have identified the wins and the opportunities and the losses and the victories and all of that. But now, for those who started with us in September, they are already working on something, whatever they want to achieve for the rest of the year. If this is your first episode in this series, it is still not too late. What you need to do will be to look at something you would still like to achieve before the end of the year, meaning for November and December. Is there something you would still like to achieve this year? Meaning, think through it, come up with your list, and then select that one thing. And if you think you can achieve more than one thing, by all means, go ahead. There's no limitation to one thing. But starting with one thing, what's that one thing that you would like to achieve before the end of the year? And then break it down. Don't let it remain one faraway wish. Break it down. What do you need? What steps must you take? What are the required dates? And for each one of those steps, identify your why. What's your why? Why do you need to do it? Because I want to start that program, because I want to lose weight, because I want to gain weight, because I want to make extra bucks, because I want to be healthy. Whatever it is, for every one of those things, slow down and establish your why. And then for each why, you are building the energy you need to run. Then turn all of this into a vision board. What's a vision board? Take a cardboard and get images of the things that speak to where you want to go to. Assemble it, put the vision board in your room, on your ceiling, picture of it, make it your wallpaper on your PC. There is something about constantly seeing that thing in your mind. If you need to have an accountability partner, find one. If you need help, we have a Telegram group that is called HeyCoach. Sign up on it. John will drop that link there. Sign up on it and reach out for an accountability partner. We will find a way to arrange one for you because, again, the product is a crowdsourcing environment. So as you are accountable to some people are accountable to you, and then start now. This bootcamp started, this is week 4 that is ending, but you can still make something out of it. We are then now saying that having looked back and looked forward to 2023, which is the message for this week's episode. How do you create the 2024 that you desire? Again, please note, you don't drift to your destination. It requires effort, it requires commitment, it requires discipline. And like I said, it starts with you identifying purpose. I have shared how to get into purpose. If you need help, get onto the Telegram group and ask for help. We will be happy to do that. But you can create a 2024 that you desire. This is not about New Year resolution. This is not about just kneeling down and praying. This is not about fasting or going onto the mountain or anything like that. Those things have a place of their own, and I'm not disparaging them. But if you are a Christian, you will know that even in the Bible, Habakkuk 2 and 3 speaks about writing the vision, making it plain, so that he may read that run it, so that he may run it that read it. So there are too many references in the Bible that speaks about making a plan. Somebody wants to build a house. Will you not first just sit down? So this is not just one, the spiritual side is there, but God did not give us this brain as a furniture. It should be used. So this session therefore is challenging you to say, do you want to create the 2024 of your dream? Are you aware that you have the capacity to create the 2024 that you want? Somebody said the best way to predict the future is to create it. Don't be deceived. It's not, all the variables are not within your control. You will not, nobody can beat their chest, at least I'm not one of them, can say, oh, I'm certain how 2024 will go. But I can tell you without a shade of a doubt, and this is something I have the privilege to talk about now for over 30 years, that if you do your part as we're about to get into it, it may go right, it may go left. Sometimes you may need to come back, but you will ultimately end up where you wanted to end up. And the stories abound. And I will come to the stories in a bit. So, this is about how do you create the 2024 that you desire. And this is how I have been privileged to have done it for the better part of the last 30 years of my life. The new year does not start on January 1. The new year starts November, October, depending on how busy the year is. This is magical, but it is super simple. The problem is how many people will run. So let's go. Similar to what we said we should have done for the remainder of 2023 is exactly the same pattern that we are following for 2024. And this is a DIY class, so I'm going to go slowly, and I'm going to ask you to pull out your pen, pull out your PC, pull out your phone, whatever it is that you have, pull it out, because now we want to go through this class activity. So the first thing you need to do is write your 2024 wish list. Part of mine, which I'm already starting working on, is I want to get my PhD started next year. Wish list. There is an app that we are working on that has to be commercial anyhow, called Q1 next year. So what are your wish lists? What's that thing you are looking for? You want to change your job, you want to build a house, you want to have an income of 1 billion naira, whatever it is that you want to make a wish list. I give you 2 minutes to do that. Make your wish list. And don't be worried about it. It will not be exhaustive, but just start. This is a DIY class, so start. Make a list. What's your wish list? Don't worry about whether it makes sense or doesn't make sense. That is why we said it's a wish list. Write. Just write. I've not seen any done. If you are on it, please type on it or say on it, so I know that I'm not waiting for nothing. Okay, thank you. Your wish list for next year. Make a list. So once you're done, just type done. Okay? Agumbiade is, Yes, Agumbiade is done. Grace Balogun is done. Okay, John is also done. Afolabi is done. Okay, that's fine. Okay, somebody is still on it. Olubanke, are you done? Okay, that's fine. So, again, don't feel stampeded. So, the idea of this exercise is not like everything has to be finished here. The idea is, let's get it started so that on your own, you can then finish it up. If you are interested in driving on this journey with me, please take note of these 2 dates, November 18th and November 25th. If you are interested in driving on this with me, you will be expected to submit this exercise wherever you are by the 18th of November, because on the 25th, which is our last episode for this year, the Lord tarrying and sparing our lives, we will then have a debriefing session. There is power in talking about this thing. There is power in verbalizing it. You use another sense to connect to it, which makes it deeper. Because the deeper this is into your emotion, the stronger the why, and the easier it is for you to run with it. So that's the first step. For 2024, make a wish list. Like I said, you can add to it, you can take away from it. It's all yours, but we are building somewhere. The next step for this then is similar to what we did last year. Take the next 2-3 minutes and see if you can sort and juggle. What's that clear number 1? What's that clear number 2? What's that clear number 3? 2 and 3 are not clear. By the time we continue, it becomes clearer. So sort by scale of preference. Sort it by your scale of preference. And let's see what you have. So I give a few minutes again for doing that. Sort it by the scale of preference. And you can have that scale of preference done many times. So do it, and if you are not satisfied, go back and do it again until you have a semblance of, yes, this is the order of priority for me. Does anybody here realize that somebody here can actually set a target of getting married next year, even as a woman, and you can work towards it? Are you aware of that? Somebody is saying, am I going to put a husband wanted on my head? No. Oh, I did set it. Oh, okay, interesting. Because it's achievable. And like I said, if you need help on any of these things, just come to the group chat and you'll find out that it's achievable. Because it's first about where you put your mind. You see, there are some things that are not easy to explain. They are supernatural, they are mystical. One of it is called the law of attraction, the law of visualization. There is a way that when you think about something, am I muted? There is a way when you think about something, you can actually attract it. You generate. There is something that is called the power of resonance. You resonate at a particular frequency. But more important than that is that it then sets your mind onto the things that you need to be doing to make what you are looking for to come to pass. Because it is not just all out there. There are things you need to do. So, even when they are not straightforward, that's the point. The first step is to desire it strong enough to be willing to put whatever you need to put into it, and then you'll be shocked. It may not be who you are looking at, it may not be where you are looking at, but you will just get shocked. I'll tell a short story. I am an accountant by my first degree. And I've told this story many times. I had a very rough journey because of my father's death. And so I knew that I had to just be successful. It was something that wasn't negotiable for me. And part of the success was that I decided as an undergraduate studying accounting that I was not going to get married until I became qualified as a chartered accountant. Now, this is even me knowing that I really didn't enjoy accounting that much, so it wasn't going to necessarily be my core. But I made up my mind that they will not be talking about accounting somewhere I cannot put my mouth, and they say, kilo more, and they will call me an olodo. So I said, whether I will use certificate or not, I was going to write and qualify. I finished my degree in 1997. And then the year I got into youth service, I was so driven. I wrote, at that time, it is fail one, fail all. The first diet I wrote in 1997, PE1, I cleared it. And then 1998, I wrote the final. I failed one paper, I failed all. I tried it again the second time, I failed one paper, I failed all. I think I tried 2 times or 3 times, I can't remember now. And I said I wasn't writing again. I wasn't going to write again. For me, it was like, I cannot come and go and kill myself. I am done. What kind of nonsense is that? Because it was very painful. And usually for these exams, particularly ICANN, it's not so much about whether you pass or fail. It's about how many people, what is their cutoff point, how many qualified accountants are they willing to release into the market that year. So remember, I passed the first diet I wrote in November 1997. Then I gave up. I said I wasn't going to write it again. 98, I tried. I think after 98 or 99, I said I wasn't going to write again. 98, I said I wasn't going to write again. That was in Port Harcourt. Then 2000, I came to Lagos. I was working with UNICEF. Then one Egbon in my class, one senior colleague in my office, who was also writing the where I joined that company for, just called me and said, tmak, how far with ICANN? Are you not writing again? I said, Egbon Shino, I'm not writing again. No, I am done. ICANN cannot be using my money to be building their office. The man said, Lila, you are going to. I said, Egbon, I'm not writing. He begged me. Guess what? With his own money. I'm still looking for that man now. Shino, Shino something. I remember his name now. He gave me the form. That exam I didn't prepare for was the one that I wrote. Now listen, this is where the story gets interesting. In my frustration, I had given up on professional exam. I was already working towards marriage. Even though I had set a journey that I wasn't going to marry until I got qualified. I thought I had abandoned the journey. I was already on my journey to marriage. I'd already decided who to marry. I'd already fixed the wedding date, or in that process of fixing the wedding date, when this senior colleague bought that form for me. Guess what? I wrote that exam that I wasn't prepared for. Guess what? I can hear you say it. I passed. Guess what? I got married in April. I got inducted into ICANN in May. Yeah? It was a few weeks after my wedding that my induction. I can still picture myself walking down that hall at the Idowu Taylor VI here, and I had completely forgotten about this plan. Oh, the memory just came. You said this 10 years ago that you would not get married until you qualify. Now, more or less, that is where you have landed. That is the power of a plan that is deeply rooted in very strong feelings and emotions. So, you don't need right now to have an idea of the path that will lead you there. You just need to be clear in your head that this is where I want to get to, and then take the steps that you can take, and then leave nature and God and the universe to supply the missing link. So, are you done with scale of preference? If you are done, jam me done. Scale of preference. Done. If you are not, say I'm on it so I can know. Done. Yes. Grace done. Olubanke done. John done. Okay, so I can see a lot of done. Again, if you are not done, the whole essence of this class exercise is not that you can finish. The whole essence is that you get it started so that you can then go back and finish it up. Now, Having established your scale of preference, this number 3 step is the most important. And the question again is, what is your why? The reason why most plans do not translate into results is because there is not enough strong why. The why is not strong enough. When you see goals being dropped, when you see plans being abandoned, it is because the why is not strong enough. So, on this, what is your why? For each of these goals you are setting, start with the topmost and slow down. Typically, your why will move you in 2 directions. It will either move you towards the pleasure that you want, or it moves you away from the pain that you do not want. So slow down and try and give yourself a compelling why. Give yourself that why that your life will practically depend on it. And one of the variables that you factor in as you do this why down the line is to think about the impact of the thing you are trying to do. How does it impact you? How does it impact the people around you? How does it impact your life? How does it impact your children, your society, the community, the things that you care about? How do these plans impact them? This is the crux of the matter. Anybody can come up with a wish list. Anybody can come up with that list that is in a scale of preference. Only those who have a strong enough why will get up when they don't feel like it, but they run after it. When they fail at it, they try another road. And if you have something on your list and you cannot generate a strong enough why, then maybe that thing should not be on your list. Maybe that thing should not be on your list. So, between these first 3 steps, you need to take time and check it again. So, I'm giving another 7 minutes on that your table. For each of the targets that you have set for 2024, slow down. This is not something that can be rushed, so I don't expect you to finish it all today. But I want you started so that between now and November 18th, for those who wish to share, you have enough baseline that you can then build upon. What's your why? What is your why? I need to get that so that I can live more healthy. There are people who are living on pills and they need to have a change of lifestyle, and then it makes them more healthy. There are people who need to run after self-improvement so that they can deliver a better quality of life for themselves. There are some who need to change behavior, who need to change attitude, whatever it is that you have said. Somebody needs to get married. You now need to become more social, more sociable, interact more. Do you need to go and learn how to cook? Do you need to sharpen your cooking skills so that you are putting yourself in because if you want, everybody wants the best person to marry, but are you working on becoming the best person that somebody else can marry? And if you don't do that inventory of yourself, you are not even ready. You are not even putting yourself in that mental space where you can generate the vibration, the energy that can attract what you are looking for. This is very deep. I have a question that has seen you can unmute and ask, or you can type if you choose.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, tmak. I wanted to ask for the why. I didn't really get how you said we should match it, or how you said we should write it. I didn't get it. Can you please describe it again? Explain to us again.
Thank you, Dara. Thank you, Dara. What I said is, Step one was to come up with a list. Yes? I want you to keep your mic open so I know where I lose you. I said step one is to come up with a list. Is that correct?
Yes.
Then step two is to sort that list and create a scale of preference. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm now saying for each one. So let's say number one is to get married. You need to look at that line and then look inside yourself and establish why do you want to get married. Do you get my point?
Yes.
What's the why? The why is I need to just settle down. The why, so for some people, is their parents. If you are a single child, is their parents who's giving them problem and they are really desirous to make their parents happy. For some, is the fact that, look, biological clock is counting. For some, it is because right now, whatever your why is, you need to establish your why. For some, it's because there's so much pressure and they just want to get out of the pressure and just know that they're investing. For some, it's the fact that, look, it's when you start raising children that they are going to start counting. You cannot rush it. If your first child was born when you are 50, it means when you are 70, that child will be 20. So whatever your why is. So I'm saying per line, build a compelling why for yourself and take the time to break it down, target by target. For each target, what is the why? For the second target, what are the whys? For the third target, what are the whys? Do you get me now? Is it clear
Yes,
now?
I do. Yes,
Okay.
it is.
And I said, if anybody is struggling to find a why for something, then maybe that thing should not even be on your list. Because if the why is not strong enough while you are just thinking about it, I wonder what, because there's nothing you set out to do that is a straight line. If it is worth the while, there will be enough obstacles and challenges on your journey there. But if the why is strong enough, trust me, you will find enough drive to keep you going. And like I said, your why may not even be for you. Your why may be for somebody else. I remember reading a story of a man who was dealing with obesity. And I'm not talking about this small obesity, very huge obesity, that he could barely stand up. You know, some of those pictures and short videos you see, you wonder, is it real? They have given this guy all pills, all counsel. It was a problem. He was overeating. He was not working out. Then one day, I can't remember the story very well, but one day, the son, he had a son. I think a son that he adopted. They were asked to write a story or an essay about a wish they had. And this boy wrote that he wished that his dad was able to play football with him. And they sent, and I'm not sure even whether it was intentionally sent to the father or in the course of just doing homework with the boy, he just saw it. Jesus. He broke down, he started to cry, and guess what? In about 12 to 24 months, that man became unrecognizable because his why was, I want to be fit and in a shape that I can play football with my son. If your why is strong enough, there is nothing you will not overcome to get to where you are going. Nothing. But when your why is weak or there is no why, it's difficult because, trust me, you don't drift towards your destination. There's always enough trouble. So, if you are done with this, please say done. If it is on it, say on it. Again, don't rush it. This particular bit will require you to go back and check. Don't rush it because this is really, really the bridge. The stronger your why, the higher your likelihood of achieving your target. The weaker your why, the higher the likelihood of you abandoning it. Thank you. Grace is done. Yes. Done. Yes, Olubanke is done. So don't rush it. Don't rush it. This is critical. You have to find your why, and the more reinforced and elaborate your why is, the easier for you to make it happen. 2024 is right before you, and it's a blank check. For all the crisis going on in Nigeria, some people are making money. For all the crisis going on in Nigeria, some people are making plans on how to make money. And believe me, many of them will eventually land there. Whether it is by a straight line or by a winding roundabout road, it matters not. Ultimately, they are going to get there. And there is something bigger that this does as you go towards it. And I hope you are going to pay attention to it. These exercises are not just about what you are trying to achieve. They are more about who you are slowly becoming. And that is the bigger value. Because when you become this person who knows how to win, then there is nothing stopping you from winning anything you want to win. So that's step 3. What's your why? Then step 4. We spoke about this. And when I spoke about the 18th of November, this is what I'm talking about. You will need to create a vision board. Find a cardboard. And that thing, so somebody wants to get married, get a picture of a wedding gown, of a wedding ceremony, husband and wife, put it there. Find the picture. You want your reception to be beachside. You want it to be waterside. You want it to be whatever. Create the picture. Somebody here wants to make $1 billion. Find something that's bigger than 1 billion. Put it there. Somebody here wants to build a house. Somebody wants to get a degree. Somebody here wants to get a certificate. Put that thing on a cardboard. Pin it there. Put your picture there. And then put it in a place where you can see it every day. Take a picture of it. Make it the wallpaper, the screensaver on your phone. Make it the screensaver on your PC. Okay? This top of mind, you will be shocked. The reason is that by doing that, you slowly get into the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is the more powerful part of the mind. And so when you have stopped worrying about it on the conscious mind, the subconscious begin to move you in that direction that you are not even aware. Your choices, your reactions, your perceptions are just altered. Afolabi, I see you are done. Thank you. It begins to change. So this visual board is powerful. The more the places where you can see it on the door of the fridge. I think it was Jack Canfield that was talking about his first job and how he wanted to make $1 million. You know what he did? He printed a big dollar note. He wrote 1 million in front of it. Do you know where he pasted it? On the ceiling. So when he's sleeping and his head is up, that's what he's seeing. That's the first thing he sees when he goes to bed at night. That him is done. I see that. Thank you. That's the first thing he sees when he wakes up in the morning. Awesome. I don't think it took him up to a year to achieve that thing. And this was somebody who was coming from maybe less than $10,000 to get into $1 million. It is possible. It's all about your mind. That's why I said it is not so much about what you are trying to achieve. It's more impactful and deeper than that. It's about who you are slowly becoming, even when you are not aware of it. Then when you have done that visual board, now the work starts. 1, 2, 3, 4 is what gets you to the point where you are fired up. You are clearer in your mind now. So like I said, some things you may consider to be a wish. By the time you start looking for why, if you can't find the why, it may drop off. Some things that you were not even including in your wish before, when you are thinking of your why, it may come up. But by the time to get to the vision board, everything should be clear, relatively clear, and then you now get into the real work. And this is why I keep saying it's about choosing your hard. Floating is hard. Doing the hard work is hard. The question is, which hard will you choose? Which is the next steps? You will now need to take each of these deliverables. Like I showed you for the guy that submitted, or the person that submitted the last time. I want to get married. What do I need? Number one, I need to become that person that is desirable. What does that mean? Learn to do this. Start to do this. Stop to do that. Number two, I need to save. How much am I saving on a monthly basis? You put that there. Who is my chief bridesmaid? There is no husband yet, though. Or there is no wife yet. But who is my chief bridesmaid? Who is my best man? The things that are within your control, you break it down. I need to get a certificate in this. So let's find the program. Let's find the cost. Let's find the money. Every day I will put 1 hour. I know of one of my boys who passed PMP in the pressure of my MTN days, simply following this step where he said, every day I will do 1 hour reading before I go home. So 5 to 6, Kayode will be in the office studying. Of course, you know that days he will now do 2 hours. There are days he will do 3 hours. But he kept that rhythm, that rigid rhythm, and he cleared it. So you take each one and break it down. Like I said, the power of this is not in what you are chasing, it's in who you are becoming. If you can take your time to break this down, you attach dates. If there are things you need from somebody else, something else, you put them there. It's a huge table that is slowly emerging. This thing, this is my why, these are the steps, and then from these steps, I also need to do these steps. This requires steps maybe 2 or 3 levels. I need to do this, and then for this one, this is what it means. You must break it down to the point that every day when you wake up, you know exactly what you're supposed to be chasing. Every day before you go to bed, you have a clear mind as to, it doesn't matter what happens tomorrow, this must go in, that must go in, this must go in. I don't know how to tell you this, but this is one of the most transformational things I have done in my life. Because what it does is that not only does it make it easy for you to achieve goals, you become a more joyful person. One of the psychological research in happiness says that one of the sources of joy and happiness is progress. Not even the result, but just knowing that yesterday I was here, tomorrow I am now here. That's one of the big things that is common to people who are happy. And that's exactly what this is. When you see people depressed, when you see people who are frustrated, it is not so much about where they are. It's about whether they have an idea of where they are going and whether they're even going anywhere. So this is extremely powerful. It doesn't mean you have all the things you need. In fact, nobody does. It doesn't mean you have all the money you need. Nobody does. But it means per time, you know the things you can immediately affect. You are running towards them. And you know the things you need from other people, and you're actively looking out for them. It's extremely transformational. So this has a lot of emotional and psychological benefit. You are not floating. You may not get it when you think, like I told you my story. I have a lot of stories to tell, and these are not things I take lightly, because I didn't even know they were there. When I finished school, I started serving. So after that story, and I came to Lagos, I started working for MTN. I've told this story a couple of times before. I started working for MTN. That was when this jackpot syndrome became very popular. In UK, it was UK HSMP, highly skilled migrant program. I'm talking 2001, 2002. It was free. It was free. It was offered. All I needed to do was apply. And I signed for a couple of my boys and guys who are out of the country. But I have never to travel abroad or live abroad. For some reasons, I'm just one bush boy from one village. So it's not easy to, you can take, how do you say it now? You can take a boy to the city. You cannot take the village out of you. I can't remember the Sha can't take the village out of me. So I wasn't excited to travel. But I had options, different options of what to do. I had known from the very beginning that talking, teaching, knowledge sharing, building people, building systems is my calling. So that was what I wanted to do. So I knew early that I wanted to end up in academics. But I didn't like the way the academics were living. And then many of them don't even know what they are teaching. It's just theory. True life story. I made up my mind then that I was going to spend 20 years in the private sector. Then after 20 years, I will start my journey to move back to academics. And I followed this step I told you. For those who are close to me and those I've spoken to, at any point in time, I can show you I have an Excel spreadsheet that sometimes have 15 years life plan on different levels, sometimes 20 years. This is not, they said, this is written. So I had to work and I forgot about it. MTN, went to Iran, came back, went to MTech, went across Africa. I was busy working and I enjoyed my career. And then about 2018, because this plan was supposed to kick in by 2020. About 2018, I just started having this on unnatural struggle in my spirit that it is time to go back to school. I didn't remember that I'd written this thing down. In fact, my plan was to have traveled abroad to go and study. I didn't want to study in Nigeria anymore. I was just tired of the Nigerian system. But by 2018, 2019, I started this agitation. I had to go back to school. All the things, my plan was that by that time, my business would be stable enough. I could travel, go to school, and the system would run. But it wasn't matured enough for me to leave it. So I couldn't be that far away. So I just had this struggle. Then I knew I wasn't going to study accounting again. I wanted to do psychology. I went to Unilag. Unilag said, if I didn't study psychology as first degree, they would not allow me to do master's. Let me do PGD. They said they are not ready for PGD. Long story short, I was able to get myself into UI to go and study MSc psychology, something I wanted to do. It was after I started that program, because I do this ritual every year to review my plan, that I now went to check the plan and I realized that almost to the date was exactly when I started the UI program. 20 years after was when this started. That is the power of a plan. Break down and you digest it and it gets inside you. Now I'm done with that master's. The pleasure I get from that degree is more than the certificate, because really doesn't really move the needle for me apart from the lecturing job I want to take up later. But there is a pleasure in knowing that this goal was set 20 years before. 20, not 2 days, 20 years. And even when I had lost the consciousness of it, which is what I'm saying, the subconscious does not forget. So it is hard, but if you really want to be in control of your life and you want to make the most of it, you have to be intentional about this. Give it the effort it requires. You will never regret it. It is something you will never, ever, ever regret it. Okay? So, break it down. You can't finish it today, but time to break it down for each goal. Establish a why, and then for each goal, Break it down all the way till when you can see what is that next step I need to take. What's that next step I need to take? And put dates, because that is what gives it life. It just starts to run after you even when you've forgotten about it. And then once you've done that, one more thing to do before you get the last thing. Find an accountability partner if you can. Is an accountability partner.
Somebody you are willing to submit to, somebody that also cares enough to follow up with you, to say, how far? By this date, you should have done this. Have you started? How are you going? Because again, for some people, they are sufficiently self-driven. They don't need so much of that push. But for some, they need some external push to push them. But don't be deceived. The accountability partner cannot replace your drive. It can only help you, which is why establishing your why and creating a clear step that leads you there, there are two critical steps that if you do well, gives you enough drive from the inside. And then last but not the least is to start now. I didn't say start January 1. I said start now. There has to be something you can do. Something as simple as sitting down to finish this plan after this session. Pick up your PC, get an Excel spreadsheet, whichever way you know how to write it right. If you need help with formatting, ask. I'll share templates with you. Go to our Telegram channel. I want us to make this an active community. That's part of my own goal for next year. The HeyCoach community is too quiet. It's because I'm just not a social media person. But this time, I want to make sure we get it active and vibrant. So go to that channel, ask for templates if you need, create one, it doesn't matter, something you can own, something you have, and then get started. Just start now. Start now by putting the plans together. Start now by researching what you need. Start now by looking for an accountability partner. Start now by some of those things that are going to affect you next year. You can actually start them now. Somebody here is trying to start a business. Go through this process. You'll be so shocked that some of the things that you need are so close to you that you never noticed. They are so available, you think they're so far away. As we speak, there are people who have money and they're looking for where to invest. They are only looking for people who are serious enough, but you can't pay attention, you can't see, because your mind is not even in that space. Somebody here is looking to get into school and there are admissions all over this place, there are scholarships all over the place, but they can't see it. Somebody here should be acquiring a skill. They have the certificate now, but they should be going to an apprenticeship to acquire a skill, to equip them for something. This exercise brings clarity. It brings clarity. And with clarity comes drive, comes passion, because you now see the steps you need to take. You need the boxes you see the boxes you need to check before you get to where you are going. Okay. Is this Jane Karen? Is this the same Jane Karen that I know that is here? Jane, is it you? I know they see.
Yes.
Jane, you. Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
It's been a long, long while. Good evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
So, any question on this? Because this is the core, and the target is you have like 2 weeks or 3 weeks to the 18th of November to get this first cut out, your vision board, to share on the Telegram group, and then to make it a date on the 25th of November, which is the last for the year by God's grace. If you are interested, everybody will have like 3 minutes to present, and then 2 more minutes for people to comment on it. Because like I said, it gives it life. You own it. It brings a lot of responsibility and gives you more reason to make sure it does not drop for those who are interested. But before I move from here, any question? Is there anything I need to clarify? Anything I need to clarify for anybody? Any question, you can unmute your mic, because that is really what this week's episode is all about. Everything else now is just open mic to ask your question. Anything here that is not clear that I need to clarify?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma.
Yes, sir. So, my question about is about how to prioritize the list.
Yes.
It seems to me, for my list, it seems some items are clashing, actually based on the timing.
Okay.
So, giving it a 1 or a 2 seems to be quite
Difficult.
challenging. Yes, so it's actually because of the timing. Yeah.
Fantastic. So thank you for that question. I was going to talk about this, but I didn't want to dilute it. So when you get to this point, there are two questions you need to ask. If everything else seems to be on the same level, the question that then comes is, which one of it is easier for you to do? So I'm assuming that they probably will have the same impact, because usually it's like if you know project management and you are doing your risk analysis, it's about probability versus impact. So it's the same. So if you have two things, the first thing to look at is which one gives you the best impact, the highest level of impact, and then which one. So you can measure impact and ease of implementation, and then when you combine the result of the two, the one that has the higher score, I don't know if you are very mathematical in your orientation, gives you where you are going. Am I making sense to you? So if they both will give you, if I bring it to money terms, if you have two options, two things you want to do, for simplicity, each one of them can give you 1 million naira as profit. But for one, you need 500,000 capital to achieve that 1 million profit. For the other, you need 100,000 capital to achieve that 1 million profit. You know, it becomes clearer which one to start with, correct? Hello? Are you with me? Am I making sense? You are muted.
Yes, you are. Yes, sir.
So the first thing is measure the impact. The second thing is assess the inputs or the requirements, then combine impact and requirement, the one that gives you the higher outcome, meaning easier to do and higher impact, is the place to start from. Remember, it's priority list. You are not abandoning the other one. You are just saying, start with this, and then you can move to this, and then you can move to this, because there's only so much you can do per time. Have I helped you?
Yeah, well, slightly, yes.
Not really. So let me know where exactly you need more clarification. Do you want to mention specifically what these things are, so we can speak to them directly?
Okay, so one is I would like to conclude with my qualifying exams.
Yes.
And the other is I have a passion too for music I'm trying to work on.
Yes.
So, and I have a target exam for that too.
For that day.
So the music is going to come before. Both of them require time, deliberate time, for practice or for studying. So I'm trying to weigh it, really, because I've left one for
when you mention music, my hair goes up, because I don't know if you know, but I'm a music person. So which exam are you writing in music? Or are you producing an album, or you want to release an album?
I'm not producing an album. Okay. I'm not producing. I have a test. I'm aiming for a particular test.
Okay, when is that test?
So test happens in August.
Next year?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
So exams come March, June.
For this, sorry, you said so August is for music exam, yes?
Yes.
Which one is March and June?
Exams.
I don't understand. What is August?
August is music.
Uh-huh.
Qualifying exams for my career
is March and June.
And June. Yeah.
All right. Question: if you finish your qualifying exams in March, are you saying between April and August you cannot be ready for your music test? Is that what you are saying?
Well, I can be.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
So, and this is, I really love the fact that you are really regurgitating and thinking about it, because the way I'm into music, let me pick this simple thing. I'm into music and I have a daughter where it's a musical family, and my daughter just finished SS3 this last exam that they wrote. But she's very passionate about her music. She plays violin and she's trying to play the cello and then the double bass and what have you. But when we were planning the year, I told her that your WAEC is your number one. Face it. That one is not an exam, it's a whole year exam. So face it and pass it. In my head, that exam that she writes is written in August and February. So she was trying to see if now WAEC was May, June, if I remember. She was now trying to see if she struggled with WAEC with the music exam in February and then come and write WAEC May, June. I said, no way, leave music. You can use it as, and that's why I'm telling this story, you can use it as your relaxation tool because you can't study all the time. Music is very relaxing, particularly if it's about playing an instrument. So you can use it as your intermission, but don't make it that you want to write the exam in February. Face WAEC, finish it, and then you will target, in my head, February 2024 for the test. And then the young lady finished exam in May, June. I said, Daddy, I can make this exam in August too. Are you sure? But now she wasn't doing anything anymore. She locked down, faced that exam, did everything night and day, every day. My heart, violin up and down, the noise. Lo and behold, the poor girl, the beautiful lady passed her exams in August. So my point is, this conversation is very useful. You need to look at it and say, hey, one is March, one is June. If I spend between now and March to focus on my qualifying exam, and then I use my music, I'm not really heavy on it, but I use it as a time filler. If I finish that one in March, can I then run after it April, May, June, July, August? It's possible. And if it's an instrument you are playing and it's about, usually those is about tutor and they're about classical pieces. Between now and when you even finish your qualifying exams, you can be taking them, but not in the big quantum. It can be one piece for a week, another piece for a week, another piece for a week, because you're just building it slowly by the side as interval and intermission to relax your brain from the serious study. But once the exams are done, boom, you can then channel all that energy, pick it up from where it is, run after it, and see how far you can go. But it is not easy for anybody to give you any prescription from outside. You must find the mix and match that works for you. But the summary is always around the impact and the ease of doing. If, as an example, if I complicate the scenario, if, as an example, you won't have enough time between April and August to be ready for the test, you must then decide which one of these two gives you the bigger impact. As an example, if it's a career, if it's a qualifying exam that when you get one, you start to count your time. Like I'm now a fellow. You now start to count your time in a particular new level. It gives you more money. It gives you promotion at work. It gives you the benefit that comes from that is higher for you than the result of passing the exam. The meaning is still face that one, finish it. If you cannot do it June this year, do it March the following year, because the one you are giving priority to has given you more value. You get my point, Mal?
Yes, I do, sir. I do.
Have I been able to help?
Yes, greatly, sir. Thank
But
you.
it will be a completely different equation because I also have some girls who have traveled abroad on the back of music. Let's say somebody is now applying for an admission to go and study music. And this person now needs to go to Muson and retake an exam and pass that exam so that admission can be finalized and this person can travel and go study. Even if the person is working right now and has a qualifying exam, if that person's priority is to pursue music abroad, this explanation then changes. This person will then prioritize passing my music exam, and then if I can still do qualifying exam, I do. If not, I have jackpot and I've done what is more important to me. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, sir. Thank you,
So
sir.
individuals have to choose. That is why nobody from the outside can do this for you. You have to sit down, get inside yourself, connect with yourself, process it, worry about it, weigh it. If you have a relationship with the Spirit of God, it talks. It will give you insight. It will move your mind in different direction. But you are the only one responsible for creating your list, for establishing your why, for creating the path, and then having the discipline to wake up every day, convenient or not, easy or not, to start logging time there so that step by step, you begin to see the dream become reality right before your eyes. I hope I've been able to help you with that. Yes, I can see
Thank
the
you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. I can see the question here. Please, can you make the list, can you retake the last sentence as to calculation? I'm not sure I understand it. That has seen me, I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about calculation now, but let me give you an example.
tmak.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was a call came in, so
okay.
I was a bit distracted. So, but when I came back, I saw you were explaining something on calculations. You said we should calculate something, and I do not know what the calculations were about.
Okay,
and
no,
that's after the.
I was actually trying to answer, I don't know, is it a big day or
Okay.
is it going to be this question? But what I was trying to say, I didn't want to confuse people who struggle with mathematics. In mathematics, there is something that they call weighted average. So let's assume that you are trying to take decisions on two variables. And so the first one is impact, and the next one is ease of execution. So let's say both of them are over 10. And I don't know if I'm confusing you, I will just stop. But if they say impact is over 10, ease of completion is also over 10, and you now want to choose which of many things to do, you need to look at those things one by one. So one is take my qualifying exam. If I think that the impact is 8, and I think that the ease of doing is say 4, if I multiply 8 by 4, that's 32. That's a score. If I go to my music exam, if I think that the impact for my music exam is 8, and the ease of doing it is also 8, it gives me a score of 36. So it means that I should go for the one that gives me a higher score than the one that gives me a lower score. Did I confuse you, or is it clear? Anyway, anybody's confused by this, please just buzz me up. Let me clear. Let me not confuse the entire class with this my plenty mathematics. But the whole essence is find the one that gives you, if you are doing your scale of preference, always prioritize the one that gives you the highest value and that you think is the easier or the easiest for you to do as may be applicable. Any other question? My Oga is here. Orlando, I see you. Thanks for joining. That's Oga at the top.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
One of these days, we are going to feature you to come and address something for us. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, any question, any final question or any other question from anybody? Looks like we're closing early today. Good. Any other question? So your journey starts now. The way to get it going is to get it started. The start now is the most important thing. Start with completing your plan. That's the number one thing. Set a target for you to complete your plan. Start with the first thing on the plan. The idea is not like you have all the variables within your control. Start now, get going. And like I said, the whole essence of this is that we want to make coaching services available on the go, not because there is one master coach anywhere, but we can all learn from one another and rally around each other and share experiences so that people are not taking decisions blind and they know that, oh, somebody else has gone through this and this worked and this did not work, and you may consider this, consider that, so that you are more empowered. And when it is also the time for you to also share with other people, you are willing to do that. So John, have you dropped the Telegram link now? So John has dropped Telegram link on the chat page. If you are not there, you may want to go there. If you need any help, you need an accountability partner, you need clarification on anything, just go there and drop. If you also want to, John, you raise your hand. If you also want to, oh, okay. If you also want to, well, what was I trying to say? If you also do not want to be the one to drop your point directly, you may then just drop it with any of the people who are listed as admin on that group chat, and then we will drop it and source for ideas across the house. But that is one of my own target for next year, to make that page more vibrant. Just drop things that people can just comment on and take a poll on and all of that, so that we can just keep everybody growing. An article, I read a lot and I want to start sharing my reading so that it can stimulate a lot of people also reading. So yeah, any question? Open mic, any question? We should be ending now. Any question from anybody? There's anything else you can follow us? I can't see any hand though. I can't see any hand. If your hand is raised, please open your mic and talk. I can't see any hand raised here. There's no hand raised on my own page. But if you have raised your hand, please just unmute and talk. If you have raised your hand, just unmute and talk. All right. So, as usual, there is just one final poll that we are going to take. John, please, can you just drop that? Please, I'll request you to please stay on. It's just like, it's less than a minute, just 3 quick questions, just for you to take the poll so we can again see how to make this better. But I just want to thank everybody, and let's remember that we are starting early to prepare for 2024. It's a very, very good thing to do. Don't allow the pressure of work or anything to crowd this out of your space, because if you are going to keep the winning streak going, you have to keep sharpening your sword. So if you keep focusing on work, and you are not sharpening your sword, by the time your sword gets so dull and blunt, you will not notice. You'll just be exerting energy for nothing. So create the time to do this. Is extremely powerful, and it makes a lot of difference. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. So I will leave the page running so you can take the quiz, and then see you on the 25th of November by God's grace, and that will be the last for 2023. Thank you.